How many people have really died in different countries because of coronavirus, either directly or indirectly? It's really hard to be exact, but one of the best measures to use is what's known as excess deaths. That means the number of deaths above what we might expect to see in normal circumstances. To work it out, you take the number of people who've died from any cause in a given period of time, a week or a month say. You can then compare that with the average number of deaths that occurred in the same period, usually over the previous 5 years. As an example, we're going to look at 3 countries with high numbers of coronavirus deaths in Europe. And to try to make the comparison more accurate, we're taking an 8-week period, starting from the week in which the 5th coronavirus death was recorded in each country. That means adding up the number of deaths in the same 8-week periods from 2015 to 2019 and dividing by 5 to get an average. The difference between that average and the number we have for 2020 is the excess deaths for that 8-week period during the pandemic. It's still not a perfect measure, but in the UK that number is about 50,928. In Italy it's 40,820, and in France it's 27,522. And if you turn those numbers into percentages, you know that in that period the UK had 54% more deaths than normal, Italy 43% more, and France 29% more. The advantage of these numbers is that they take a lot of other variables which make comparisons between different countries really difficult out of the equation. You don't have to think about whether one country has done more coronavirus tests than another, or whether one has a stricter definition than another of how to count coronavirus deaths. You just know roughly how many more people have died of any cause than you would normally expect. There are still other factors to take into account. If you're comparing different countries, as well as asking if they reached the peak of the outbreak at different times, you need to know if one has an older population than another, or if having had so many excess deaths early in the year, they will now have far fewer next winter. So statisticians are never entirely satisfied, but measuring excess deaths gives you a pretty good idea of what's been going on.